I asked you guys to send me some of your worst anime, and I'm gonna rank them. Let's kick this off with what is probably the most controversial of the list, being Sword Art Online. While editing this, I realized that literally all the video of me got corrupted, and the audio is questionable at best. I decided to just patch up the audio the best I could, as the alternative was to just not post a video this week. So all that being said, I hope some of you can still enjoy this video. Now, as most of you probably know, I made a video titled 5 Anime Better Than Sword Art Online, so that must mean I'm a hater, right? No, not at all. Sword Art Online has its really good points, such as the animation and the soundtracks, but it has its really bad points in, like, the story and plot and characters. So for that reason, we're going to start this list off by dropping Sword Art Online at a C, and we'll use that as our benchmark basically for everything else. Next up, we have Hunter x Hunter. Can't say I wasn't surprised to see this one, because this is without a doubt an immediate S tier for me. Next up, we get into some of the generic isekai. So we got Isekai Cheat Magician. Now, I'll be the first to tell you, I didn't finish it. I made it about 10 minutes through episode 1, because it's just that. It's a generic isekai. I'm gonna drop this one right into, let's say, D or E, which we're gonna go to E. And you're gonna notice, E is basically gonna be the generic Isekai Graveyard of this video. Next up, we have one of the first anime that I watched, being Guilty Crown. Now, it's been probably 5 years since I watched this or so. I don't remember when it came out, it's been a while. I remember season 1 being absolutely amazing and loving it, and season 2 was definitely a step down. But that being said, I really need to rewatch it, but I'm just gonna go off of my old nostalgic memories, and we're gonna give this one a B. So next up, we have Grimgar Ashes and Delusions. First off, who the hell put this on my list? I can only imagine that you either did this A, to troll me, or B, you just don't know me that well, because this is probably this is in my top 10 favorite anime, and for that reason, it gets an S tier, without a doubt. Next up, the Irregular at Magic High School. I know this is kind of a fan favorite of a lot of my fans. Like, I watched a good 7 to 9 episodes, and still didn't like it. Like, it's not bad, it's just, I don't know, something about him being so overpowered, but then acting like he's not overpowered, kind of, but then whooping everybody's ass. It wasn't for me. And no, all of you telling me to watch season 2 and to keep giving it a try, sorry, but I'm not going to. And for that reason, we'll drop this at a C right beside Sword Art. Next up, we got a webtoon, The Tower of God. So, here's my thoughts. The first 12 episodes were alright. It was Hunter x Hunter, but not Hunter x Hunter. But episode 13 did make this anime worth watching. And for that reason, I will actually put it all the way up to an A, but I just want to verify. Without the twist in episode 13, this would probably be a C tier also. But that being said, we'll leave it at A for now. Next up, we have Bungo Stray Dogs. Now, I really enjoy this anime, and I actually put it in my video on 5 anime better than Fairy Tail. I completely love this anime. It's near the top 10, it's not in my top 10, but I'll drop it at an A. And the only reason it's not S tier is because my favorite characters in the show are just side characters. Next up, we have Chivalry of a Failed Knight. Now, this is another one of my favorites if you didn't know. I'll be the first to tell you though that yes, the anime has its issues, and yes, it's basically criminal that we never got a season 2. My instinct tells me to put it at S tier, but if I want to be objective, I'd probably put it at B tier. But once again, this is my list, so I'm going to split the difference, and we're going to drop this one at A. Moving on, we have Darling in the Franxx. This is probably in the range of guilty pleasure for me. I don't know what it is about this type of story, like Darling in the Franxx, Kill la Kill. I'm probably going to drop this at a B tier because, I mean, if you guys have watched it, you probably know. The ending, just that ending. Next up, we have Tokyo Ghoul. This is the only series that I actually own all the manga for. And no, we're not including Tokyo Ghoul Re into this, that is completely separate in my mind. I'm also not going to talk about Rude. We're just going to go with the very first season of Tokyo Ghoul, because that's the one that followed the manga. And for that, I'm going to drop this at S tier. I know there's going to be a lot of people that think it's too edgy, but honestly, I like that shit. So yeah, we're leaving it there. Next up, another generic isekai. Death March to a Parallel World Rhapsody. It's E. Look, anything that's a generic isekai and doesn't stand out from the crowd in the slightest is going here. It's just the way it's gonna be. Next up, we got Fairy Tail. If you've been around the channel for a while, you should also know that this is one of my favorite anime. But just like Sword Art and like all the other big anime, it has its problems. I would say objectively it probably belongs between a C and a B, but once again, this is my list, so it's A. Next up, we got a classic, Helsing Ultimate. And no, we're not discussing the abridged tier, even though that is obviously S tier. It's been a while since I watched this one, and I've actually been meaning to rewatch it. Probably will never actually get around to that if I'm just being honest, but I'm gonna drop this into A tier. I don't remember there being any issues with it. I mean, it's Helsing, it's over the top gore. It's what it's meant to be, and it does a really good job at being that. Next up is Assassin's Pride, one of the most disappointing anime that I tried from this previous year. So, generic isekai falls at an E, right? Yeah, we'll drop this one as the first F tier. If you enjoyed this anime, I don't understand how. Like, to each their own. If you enjoyed it, by all means enjoy it. I'm not telling you not to. But that was so bad. Here we go again, another generic isekai. Isekai with my smartphone? Yes, it's going to E tier. Done. Next up is Konosuba. I was kind of surprised because I was unaware people could not like this anime. Konosuba is absolutely hilarious. There's fantastically terrible waifus, and it's an isekai. I don't understand what there is to dislike about this one, and I'm dropping it in S tier. We're finally here to the next one, which is Plunder. So if you don't know what Plunder is, first off, don't watch it. And the reason for that is I've watched, I think, 4 episodes back when it was first airing, because everybody and their brother was telling me, watch Plunder, it's gonna be amazing. I watched 4 episodes, and it's literally 4 episodes of non-stop sexual assault, essentially. I was offended, and I'm not even female. Don't watch Plunder. Here we got Domestic Girlfriend. If I'm gonna be blunt with you, I wouldn't say this is a great anime, but honestly, I completely loved it. This might also fall into guilty pleasure category. It's just something about, like, that dream that every teenage boy had of getting those hot stepsisters. I think objectively it belongs at a C tier, right alongside Sword Art and Irregular. But I liked it so much, I'm bumping it up a notch. So we're gonna drop this at B tier with Darling in the Franxx. Next on the list is Punchline. This is an anime that, after reading the synopsis of, I thought I was going to absolutely hate it. If you don't know, it's essentially this kid gets turned into a ghost, and if he sees a girl's panties or anything like that, the world explodes and he has to try again. The fan service doesn't completely take over the show, but at the same time, they're very forward with the fact that it's supposed to be there and it's supposed to be gimmicky and funny. I know it's rated at like a 7 out of 10. I really want to drop this at an A, but I don't think objectively it deserves an A, and I'm not going to put it there just because on this one. We'll drop this at a B right beside Domestic Girlfriend. Moving on to ReZero. I imagine this is a lot of your guys' favorites out there, as it's a very unique isekai, and for that reason, it does not fall in line with the rest of these. I think ReZero is brilliant. Like, the story it's just so good, and it's starting to get really intricate, but at the same time, how intricate it's getting is actually bothering me. Now, I understand Season 1 didn't have much plot, and if I want to be blunt, that's why I enjoyed it. I enjoyed Season 1 just watching Subaru die over and over, trying to figure out the new way. And that's essentially what Season 2 is, except with like 13 different plot lines. And I understand for that reason that objectively Season 2 is better, but it's just not doing it for me. I'm gonna drop this at a B. It probably deserves an A at least, but just something about Season 2 I don't know, I'm just not enjoying it as much as I thought I was going to. It's just not hitting that nostalgia factor from Season 1. Oof, here we go. Arifureta, from Commonplace to World's Strongest. We can all agree, I think, that this was objectively a bad anime. Very rushed beginning. Animation was questionable a lot of the time, to say the least. I loved it though. But that being said, I can't in a right mind give this anime a good rating. but at the same time, it does stand out from our E rank Isekai Graveyard. So we'll bump it up one notch. Not gonna say it's as good as Sword Art, but it's definitely better than these guys in my mind when it comes to entertainment factor. D. Rent a Girlfriend. This was a very popular anime of last year. I'm sure literally any of you who follow seasonal anime gave this one a shot. It's just like when I was watching this anime, I was loving it, but hating it at the same time. And it's just that same feeling I used to get when I was real into Smite. Like, there's parts of it when the girls are on screen where, like, they're completely adorable, and it's just so cute. But then the main character shows up and opens his mouth, and it's just so frustrating to watch. And for that reason, like, I don't know. Like, I want to like this anime so bad, but I did drop it because it was so annoying me as I was watching it. Like, if we can take the main character out of it, I don't even remember his name, I would give this a B to an A. But with the main character in it, it ruins it. Fuck it, we're going with C. Take the main character out, I'd give this show an A. With the main character in it, it's just annoying, so it's going here. Next up, I got an anime a lot of you probably haven't watched. Taboo Tattoo. This is another anime I haven't watched for a good 3, possibly 4 years. I don't know, I remember watching this in college, binging the whole thing in like a day or two. I barely remember what it's about. Essentially, people can get these tattoos that give them superhuman powers. I know on my anime list it's rated, I think, at a 5.9 maybe? So like, objectively people think it's terrible, but honestly I remember enjoying it. I'm not putting it down here, simply because I enjoyed this anime compared to these, but I'm obviously can't put this up here if you've watched the show, because it's not as good as these, so we're gonna drop this at a D right beside Arifureta. Next up, we have an anime that just recently finished last season, Talentless Nana. This is essentially Among Us, the anime, just one of those type of shows. The show was really good. It was very well thought out, and like seeing all the interesting different characters and powers was cool. But there's something about it that just barely missed the mark. Like, it's aiming for that Death Note territory, but at the same time, it's just like, it was 85% of the way there. Like, it just couldn't crest over the top of the hill that I would deem it as greatness. So we're gonna drop it at a B rating for that reason. The second webtoon of the list, we have The God of High School. I feel like there's a very diverse group of people on this anime. There's people that absolutely love it, there's people that absolutely hate it, and then there's people that just think it's alright and was nothing but action. I could only watch 3 episodes. To me, it felt like it was just all over the place. It could have gotten much better throughout. One of my best friends actually tried to get me to finish it. Sorry, Dakota, not going to. So I'm not going to give it a D. We'll drop it beside Sword Art, because just like Sword Art, it has its great qualities and also has its very bad qualities, at least in the first 3 episodes, because that's all I have to base it off of. Next up, we have, once again, another generic isekai that I am not a fan of, The Wise Man's Grandchild. Pretty quickly, just going to an Isekai Graveyard down here at E rank, let's forget that one ever existed. Lastly, we have what is probably one of the most popular romance anime ever, or it's up there next to whatever the most popular is. Your Lie in April, if you don't know, is a tearjerker. It doesn't exactly hide why it's going to be a tearjerker, but even then you get so attached to the characters that you can't help but feel sad. And I'm going to drop this one in S rank because it's probably my favorite romance anime up to this point. There you have it. This was me ranking your guys' worst anime. I didn't have much time to prepare for this video, so it might turn out kinda scuffed. I don't know, we'll see what happens. But shout out to my Patreon as always, it'll be on screen somewhere around here. Thanks for watching everyone, and I hope to see you next time.